The best FPS games of all time. Hey guys, what's going on today? Welcome back to another Game Craze video. FPS or first-person shooter games are incredibly popular with every gamer. In fact, they're the most popular genre of games today. In today's video, we'll be taking a look at the best FPS games of all time. Stick around and watch the video right until the end to see if your favorite game makes the list. Devil Daggers. The satanic first-person time attack does nothing to explain itself, dropping into a flat hell plane where you stave off waves of demons of increasing number and difficulty. It initially comes off as a stylish ode to the 90s FPS games and arcade shooters like Robotron and Geometry Wars, but unlike those games, Devil Daggers isn't intent on leaving you smiling. It's bleak in its presentation and unforgiving in its play. One hit from a stray demon and it's over. Even surviving a minute is quite the testament. Because Devil Daggers concentrates so intently on spatial awareness and aim, it can leverage every aspect of its design in crucial ways. For example, since the first-person perspective means you can't see what's behind you, learning specific demon sounds and relating to the position to where you hear them is a skill essential to success. A single run can take anywhere from 5 seconds to 5 minutes if you're a god, which is short enough to cycle to learn how specific demons behave. How firing modes affect mobility, spawn patterns. It's kind of a game that you can see the shape of within a minute of play, but one that hides a ton of depth in its focused design. Devil Daggers may not have an explosive campaign, or a cutthroat multiplayer mode, or a huge arsenal of fun weapons, but it embodies what makes shooters so great in a dense package. Pointing and clicking demon skulls out of existence. Half-Life Alyx. This game from the Half-Life series is one of the best FPS games you need to try. There's a big barrier to entry since it's VR only, but despite only having 3 guns to choose from, Half-Life Alyx is an exciting and at times utterly frantic shooter. As headcrabs scuttle, zombies lurk, and Antilicians charge, you'll have to physically pop fresh clips into your pistol and jam shells into your shotgun, sometimes in near complete darkness. Learning to perform the action smoothly takes time, and they're there to put you to the test regularly as swarms of monsters and combine soldiers come at you from all sides. Weapons are upgradable so you can eventually add a grenade launcher to your shotty and a hefty magazine expansion to your pulse pistol for expelling long bursts of fire. Positively cathartic after being careful with your ammo in the early sections of the game. From claustrophobic horror-filled tunnels and basements to wide-ranging firefights on the surface, Alyx is a heart-pounding, and if your hands didn't have both controllers in them, nail-biting experience. With its extremely likable characters, including Alyx herself of course, new enemy types and old favorites, and an absolutely gorgeous setting and intriguing story, Alyx is an excellent blend of the joys of earlier Half-Life games and the intricacies of VR. Doom and Doom 2. Next we have the pioneers of FPS, and probably every old school gamer has played this game before. Wolfenstein 3D preceded it by a year, but Doom is in the DNA of everything here. It's the progenitor of moving, aiming, and shooting things that hit your health bar in a 3D environment. Hunting for access cards and thumbing walls with spacebar doesn't have the appeal today that it did in 1993, but Camerak's technical feats, like creating height differences in a 3D environment, a totally new concept at the time, and well-animated sprites help Doom hold up as an agile, colorful, essential shooter that happens to be the foundation for every other game. Doom and Doom 2 have also been elevated by the modding community. More than 20 years later, they're still going strong. You'll find new weapons, new campaigns, and total conversions that let you be everything from a pirate to a cartoon square. Even John Romero is still releasing maps. Dusk. One of our highest rated shooters of 2018, Dusk is a riff-off of classic FPS games with clear influences from Quake, Doom, and Half-Life. If you worried first-person shooters had gotten too slow since the 90s ended, this is probably the game for you. Set across 3 campaigns, you'll play with the fun and often ludicrous armory. The Riveter, for example, which launches exploding rivets at your foes. It's more than just a throwback though, filled with memorable, varied levels and a genuinely good little horror-themed story. Metro Exodus. Next we have an FPS game set in the future. Metro Exodus trades the claustrophobic Moscow subway tunnels of Metro 2033 and Metro Last Light for a mix of open and linear environments across the unexpectedly lush, living Russia. It's still the same shooter at its core though, with horrific enemies, boisterous comrades, loud crappy guns, and the best Eastern European post-apocalyptics the side of Stalker. But what really makes it work at its heart, the men and women you travel with are as rough and rugged as they come, but they have a genuine love for one another that transcends the rote camaraderie of most shooters. And one of the game's most memorable moments isn't an action sequence, although there are plenty of those, but a mournful, introspective wedding song about the loss of innocence during the time of war. 2033 and Last Light are smaller and much more linear than Exodus, but their portrayals of a slow, stoic struggle to survive in a genuinely awful wasteland are still well worth playing too. BioShock. Q Good Chuck of you might remember this game, BioShock's great asset is its setting, and what Rapture provided from its ruined Eden are enemies that are hysterical, tragic figures. One encounter with the Splicer or Big Daddy can arc from curiosity to sympathy, and then swing into a full-on fear and violent panic. One of the best things Irrational does is imbue its monsters with terrifying sound design. The psychotic speech of Splicers, the foghorn drone, and steel steps of the Big Daddies. The claustrophobia and anxiety Rapture throws at you gives you permission to fight recklessly, tooth and nail with powerful plasmids and upgraded shotguns as a way of getting revenge on the horrors that haunt you. Stalker, Call of Pripyat. What's most refreshing about Pripyat is how much trust it puts in you to figure out its brutal setting for yourself. In the zone, standing next to the wrong pawn might be all that it takes to kill you. It's the genre's capital city of death, populated with zombies that carry guns, invisible humanoid Cthulhus, and horrifying walls and energy that emits nope in a mile-wide radius. It's a game blissfully low of exposition and hand-holding, making each time you escape alive feel earned. GSC's compromises between realism and playability are smart, and excellent ballistics modeling and tracer effects bullet make for gritty firefights. It only improves with mods. Fear. One of the most creatively designed games on the list, Fear was far ahead of its time when being released in 2005. Fear's supernatural encounters are somewhat segregated from its shootouts. One moment you're time-slowing, slide-kicking SWAT Superman, the next corridor you're peeing your pants because an 8-year-old ghost is lurking in your hallway. That pacing empowers and scares you, a feat for games that combine action and horror. The creepiness that permeates everything works with Fear's outstanding weapon design, clever enemy pathfinding, and dimly lit offices that are simultaneously unsettling and cathartic to blow apart in slow motion. Wolfenstein: The New Order. The big, silly revival Wolfenstein has inventive level design, a daft but entertaining story based on the alternative World War II history, and guns that feel amazing to fire. It also made dual wielding an exciting idea for the first time in about a decade. You battle boilerplate robo-dogs, you fight Nazis on the moon. The feel of machine guns and shotguns is spot on. The former Starbreeze leads who formed Machine Games reinterpreted Wolfenstein in a way that made it exciting and new for both the series' existing audience and for those who gamers coming in fresh. The big, chunky shooter is about much more than just a retro pastiche, offering a variety of production and values you rarely get to enjoy in single-player games these days. The sequel is good, but we prefer the gameplay first. The Signal from Tolva. And finally, the best game in our opinion is this. The deliberately slow-paced and engaging FPS has shades of Stalker with gorgeous sci-fi open world that's based on concept illustrations by former Rockstar artist Ian McQuaid. You hijack a surveyor drone, investigating the signal in the title, and fend off other robot factions as you explore the planet's surface. Later in the game, you get to command other surveyors too, who can help you in combat. The unusual, memorable setting combined with great sounding and feeling guns makes this one of the most notable recent Colts hits on Steam. You don't necessarily have to play all these games with a group, but they're better that way. Buy a copy with a friend or maybe 20 friends depending on the game, and do a bit of bonding by graciously showing them where bottles of pills are and yelling at them when they bullheadedly dash into the next room before you're ready. This brings us to the end of our video. I hope you enjoyed it. Hit like if you did, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel so you don't miss any of our videos in the future. Also watch the next 2 videos that are on your screen because I'm sure you'll love them. With that, I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.